So like definitely no picture and right now like that. Even though right now Pantinoda had upon reading like the contents of the letter, like Pantinoda remembered like the teachings of that of near like has already thought like all the kinds of members that basically in a situation where like they will have to like prioritize the survival of like the spiders even more than flowers, like then they have to like totally let Chrollo died for the sake of like the survival of the Spider and all that. Like in the post speeches of Chrollo definitely even while Barcelona right now is like remembering the remaining fans of the methods might have totally and thoroughly forgot about it. It's definitely my doesn't rendition. So and I'm considering maybe just maybe like Pink's group that just now showed up that uh, they might remember this region they might not remember. So like maybe like temporarily right now then might have it might be just then like with like it might be just let them totally temporarily remain silent just depending on the so like I'm thinking maybe this may be like later on I'm thinking them to totally speak up like the group of things that through that basically the remaining crew of like the band group members, like the remaining kind of group members that have right now joined up with like the group of like Machi and Batanoda and Nobunaga right now, like basically them and those different those remaining groups that have joined up that basically them and those different maybe like eventually to like start to like speak up and then to maybe remember the also remember like the teachings of like Rolo and then to basically tell Park Anora and others to basically read like the memories of like Don and Kindua and reveal all about like the changes of clan and everything. Basically, and that way, like how like the boss of like like the boss of like Chrollo actually dying. It's definitely my brain version. So like, and then totally bringing up like the topic about like I remember how like Chrollo has already taught us about to do exactly this in such a situation. So like but like even the numbers when people like Machi and Nobunaga as well would be like against that such a decision. So like I'm bring a whole confusion happen in within like the kind of group at that point. It's definitely one of the remember. So like I'm bring actually like how exactly like the prophecy of that Chrollo had said about like Pantanoda and bring exactly how exactly that will become true. I'm bring precisely I'm bring like this whole confusion between like and between like the finance groups and those different that would like totally confuse like Pakanoda. It's like the scenario that I'm supposed to bring. And then I'm supposed to bring it to be like Saturday would be over and then Sunday I'm supposed to bring it to be precisely the confusion to totally and for to remain even all throughout like Sunday as well. It's like the scenario that I'm supposed to bring. So like I'm supposed to bring it would be like almost it would be like I'm supposed to bring the scenario to be like basically definitely like the letter that Kurapika left with the next like basically that letter to be like beside Patanora in when it's like 11:59 Sunday at night like it's like 11:59 p.m. At that point I was referring in Patanora still being confused and like that letter that Kurapika left like being beside Patanora at that point. And that would be like the path of like the public of Patanora where it says like the god of death like being by Pakunoda side, especially referring to that letter. And I'm about to bring at that point like Pakunoda finally. And I'm about to bring at that point like the remaining finance group members would be like it would be like 11:59. I'm about to bring at that point the remaining finance group members would be like fast asleep and gone and Kidua would be like in person at some location. And maybe it would be in like the base of the finance group that Bhattacharya by then Gone and Kilua would be and like the remaining kind of numbers would be and like Gone and Kilua would be in like in some like state and I'm Bhattacharya at that point like Bakanada secretly the Bakanada was like sort of said main like secretly sneaking in towards like Gone and Kilua and Bakanada deciding to like read like the memories of Gone and Kilua and reveal it to like the remaining dinosaurs. That would be like the decision that Parthenoda would be taking. And I'm also trying to definitely be also connecting that decision of Parthenoda right now, even though right now Parthenoda has taken the decision of betrayal by betraying like the entirety of like the and it being like not just Parthenoda's decision, but like even Machi as well, like kind of like forcing Parthenoda to take the decision of betrayal by like totally going against like the teachings of Chrollo and not revealing like not prioritizing the survival of the spiders and not reading like the memories of deciding not to read like the memories of Dawn and Tilwa. due to mainly due to Machi as well as Nojanaga person Pakanoda. I'm also bring so currently since even though the decision of Pakanoda is like a betrayal, I'm also bring by it was by the when it would be 11:59 p.m. During the night time during Sunday. Like at that point, I'm also bring the disturbance within that and confusion within that Pakanoda's mind that is uh, the fact that it's like the whole decision is up to Pakanola to decide to take. Like I'm considering eventually Pakanola deciding to take the decision, switching from betrayal and deciding to take the decision of pride. And I'm considering by the 14 point saying the as to Pakanola having to choose from pride and betrayal and the 14 point also saying that it will be precisely even happening precisely when the darkness is starting to turn bright. It will be precisely referring to that exact time that basically the precise point where Arsenal would be changing her decision from betrayal to pride would be precisely happening precisely just during just when it turns 12 a.m. and just precisely when it turns Monday. Certainly my considering it. So I'm considering with the whole disturbance in Arsenal's mind and was different Arsenal totally forgetting about the fact that the 14 poem that Chrollo gave to Patinoda about Patinoda would be getting activated precisely next week, and so that Monday would be next week, and they would bring up that when the 14 poem the effect of the 14 poem actually happening, and then those bring Papinoda's decision of pride, what the Compton poem might have meant by pride was he Papinoda and the pride eventually coming to the decision precisely during 12 a.m. Monday, about to bring Papinoda by herself, basically coming to taking that decision all by herself, that basically Papinoda at that point was getting along the lines that it will Papinoda reads the memory of Gong and Kilua and reveals about all the strategies of Kurapika to the remaining family group members. Then at that point, basically the survival of the spices when the death of the Chinese are will be absolutely certain will be along the lines of Pakanoda will be thing. And that way the spiders will be definitely be able to survive. And at that point, Pakanoda will be also think that so by doing that, a lot of they are leader of the fan of so of that as well will be most likely certain. So if that happens, basically because Pakanoda even though the thing that Pakanoda might not be actually the strongest member of the family, still Pakanoda and the taking feeling that absolute pride in Pakanoda alone having this ultimate ability among all members of the family, that Pakanoda alone having this ultimate ability of being able to read others' memories. Which would be so extremely valuable for the remaining band of members for their future success that basically even though Patnoda is not the strongest member of the band of still Patnoda would be able to blackmail and threaten the remaining band of members at the on the scenario of the rest of the role of that Patnoda that Patnoda would be able to take advantage of her having her unique ability it's being extremely precious and valuable to the remaining fan program, but to basically get Papinada to replace Pro as the next leader of the fan group. So this would be that pride, decision of pride is definitely for Papinada's definitely member of the campaign. Papinada taking so much excessive pride in her unique ability, and that way Papinada trying to force herself in thinking along the lines as to technically force herself into replacing Chrollo as the next leader of the fan group that as well that position of being the lead with the fan group and so that Barcelona would be able to control the entire of the fan group according to her will and which is that would be kind of tempting for Barcelona that I'm also bring Barcelona taking that decision precisely at 12 a.m. And I'm also bring at that point Barcelona reading the memories of Ron and Kidua and I'm going to bring when Barcelona would be doing this that that Kurapika will be right beside Barcelona. And at that point, Canada would be straight away, while the remaining kind of group members would be complete and also different Canada straight away, reading after reading all Antilo's memories and gaining the full idea of the entire plan of Kurapika. Canada at that point, straight away shouting at the remaining final group members that would be asleep about the plan of Kurapika and Kilua. So right at Canada would be only about to shout out that plan itself. Patanada won't be able to shout out and will actually reveal that plan. But like right as Patinoda, the moment Patinoda will be trying to like shout out the plan itself, like Patinoda won't be able to like speak. And that would be due to like the sword of law, which would be definitely contained within that letter, precisely intended for Patinoda that was left by Kurapika. That letter having like Kurapika having infused like the sword of law condition into that letter where like once like Patinoda reads and gains like the content of it, this letter, if Patinoda reveals the contents of like this letter to any of like the to anybody or like to any of like the other kind of members at that point, Pakunada would be definitely dying. That's Pakunada would be definitely dying. This would be like the sort of law condition that would be infused into that letter like by Kurapika. It's definitely my perception. So like at that point it's like the precise at that point itself, like the precise sort of law getting activated and Pamplona died. It's like the scenario that I'm considering. And I'm considering most likely this could happen precisely within like the base of like the final group. And that would be like the maybe like until that point I'm considering like maybe melody would be like secretly from kind of like a remote distance, like from like the base of the final group, like melody would be like staying up all night and precisely reading like the heartbeat, precisely focusing the heartbeats of Paganoda and to see like the precise and like Melody will be patiently waiting for like the precise moment that Paganoda would be like because like I'm considering Kurapika might have totally this would be the ultimate strategy for Kurapika. Kurapika might have totally felt that basically regardless of what like the other planet crew members tells to like Pakanada, the fact that like Pakanada could like totally bring down the Chinese or by like reading like the memories of Gon and Shiga who are right there with them. Like basically that whole situation will be extremely tempting for Pakanada that Pakanada will eventually end up reading like the memories of Gon and Shiga and trying to will be eventually trying to like reveal it to like the remaining planet members. This will be one thing that Kurapika will might have had like at least confidence in. It's definitely my considering the and I'm considering Kurapika would be like seriously putting like Melody to like stay to spy on like the planet from a distance while precisely focusing on the heartbeats of Pantanoda. So precisely at the moment Pantanoda would be like trying to reveal the contents of like the letter to like the remaining planet members and Pantanoda would be like straight away due to like the sort of law of effect like Pantanoda straight away will be dying. At that point itself like I'm also bringing Melody giving like the signal to Kurapika. And at that point itself I'm also bringing Kurapika totally maybe like launching the next ambush attack and maybe right and considering his work as well would be like attacking together. It's like at that point, especially like the scenario that I'm going to don't bring any talking to the embarrassing. Because my talking to the embarrassing is like even from Kurapika's point of view, like Kurapika would be like totally and absolutely deep down fearing Pakinoda's presence in like the fan of especially because like if Pakinoda figures out like Kurapika's powers and reveals it to like the remaining fan of members, like at that point Kurapika would be since like Kurapika won't be able to like do anything at all, like that would be like that that factor, like that important factor would be like remaining as like an absolute fear for Kurapika, and that might have been what the president preventing this entire time might have been preventing Kurapika from actually uh, launching a proper attack against like the final focus deployment of like Kurapika might be like all this time might have been entire time might have been patiently waiting to precisely take the life of exactly Pantanoda. So like precisely once like Pantanoda will be precisely dying and I'm definitely still thinking to my person mention that Pantanoda will be precisely dying at like precisely 12 a.m. Monday as per like the prophecy. Definitely the scenario that I'm going to go for. And at that point itself like Kurapika melody revealing it to signaling and revealing it to like calling Kurapika and revealing it to Kurapika and straight away Kurapika will be making her move precisely at that point. Especially because like at that point like the remaining fan members will be won't be able to like won't ever be able to like figure out how Kurapika's powers works with like Barcelona dying. It's definitely not any good. So like even that attack on those different definitely Kurapika would be like precisely using like exactly like how like even in like the exactly it would be like I'm different a similar kind of like a unique kind of strategy involving a lot of stealth would be how Kurapika would be making her move. And I'm also bring Kurapika definitely like flipping up like the fan and trope within like the base of like the fan and trope as well. So that like it will be easier for like the team of like Kurapika and Hisoka to basically target like the split up groups of like the fan and trope rather than trying to like take them down as a whole. It should be impossible for them. It's also like an eventual possible scenario that I'm going to bring and my particular ambition. And I'm going to bring like definitely Chrollo to definitely be kept alive by Kurapika even to the very end. And I'm considering it will be especially due to like Kurapika wanting to extract the interrogate Chrollo and extract out all the information about like the fandom group as a group, like after like why Chrollo had began like a group, started a group since Chrollo was like leader, like why Chrollo even began like a group like the fandom group and that has to like all the villainous things the fandom group has done until now. And as for like this precise and I'm definitely for my personal impression as for like the precise my personal impression that like Kurapika will be definitely having that high priority of wanting to like keep Chrollo alive towards the very end, and that will be precisely, and the main reason would be precisely for like Kurapika to like through Chloro, through the interpretation of Chloro Kurapika, hoping to like figure out where exactly like all the entirety of the Scarlet Knight that was stolen from like the whole extermination of like the fragment, like where that all of the entirety of those Scarlet Knights are in like the present. So that like Kurapika, since like that's one of like the main goal of Kurapika to like get back all those Scarlet Knights, definitely precisely because of that reason I'm considering Kurapika to like not decide to like take the life of Chrollo anytime soon. It would be Kurapika would be only planning on taking Chrollo like only after like extracting out all that information from Chrollo. It's definitely also my personal interest. So next, my other possible question theory and questions that maybe like Kurapika left behind by like affecting or like might be according to like the content within that letter might be according to like the absolute master plan between like combined master plan between like Kurapika and Hisoka. I've also like my personal preference because like exactly like I got real impressions of maybe like the possibility that basically exactly like how Chrollo has taught like the canon members in like the same path that they played in the situation where like it like the leader has to die in order for like the fighters to like survive then like even like in such a manner like they should let Chrollo die in such a manner so like such a teaching Chrollo has already taught us like canon from the second or different after like the Joker had joined like the canon group like even after that like I'm different Chrollo might have once again like repeated the same teaching to like the fan members so like at that point Hisoka might have heard of this like that is such a teaching is like happening in like the kind of society role. So like I'm considering maybe might be according to like Utoka's plan and strategy to totally take advantage of that precise exact teaching of Solo to like the kind of group by like creating an absolute split and quarrel and the fight between each of like, the fan members between amongst like the random group members might be the reason behind it might be also maybe possibly like the reason behind the exact letter precisely because the letter says that is the like so that like to create like a split and division in like opinion as to like whether they should be like revealing like the strategies and information whether they should like basically make Papinoda read like the memories of like John and Kilo and reveal it about like everything about the thing is up to like the other fans members or like they should like keep that information hidden and prioritize like the safety of Chrollo. So like it's to create like an absolute split and like a division between like the fan group members so that like maybe like they might eventually quarrel and start a fight between each other and maybe in such a manner to maybe create like a bunch of casualties and that among each of like the fan group members and that way to like lessen down like the numbers and hence like the might of like the fan group as like a group this could also be like a possibly like a strategy thought out and planned out between like Joka and Surabaya then way before so also like a possibility that and those already and my person during and so yeah. So then the thing I'm during and different right now is that like at that way back at like the very moment where I've had stolen like the fake but I like I'm considering at that point of the Kurapika might have totally planned a whole like for a power cut like attacking index the darkness and capturing Chrollo strategy. Definitely, even from way back then, is definitely my personal reaction. And I'm considering like what might have happened might have been like, and maybe like back then, for Africa might have not expected like for it to be for her to like to have for like the precise leader of like the final group, like role itself, like basically showing up to like that precise order. Like what according to like for Africa's plan, that for Africa might have totally strategized out was like with Oga. Their plan might have been to like precisely during that for once like the kind of group members will be entering that precise portal for like the power for one of the Kurapika through to like cut off the power and basically right then for Kurapika to like affect a single kind of group member and then select only both the whole blackmailing and with like the letter and everything. So that way, eventually, most likely, definitely using the sort of law takes back and all of that. Like, this might have been like strategy that Kurapika might have only strategized house with like Hisoka from way back then. It's definitely my person to reimpression. And my person to reimpression is that like so especially because like specifically my person to reimpression that like this is because like how because of how extremely precious and important like the Scarlet Knight is for Kurapika. Definitely the point when Kurapika had basically stolen like the Scarlet Knight from like the second underground auction and above the sort of thing. Kurapika might have definitely stolen that Scarlet Knight and not might have not even participated in like the second underground auction and bought like the Scarlet Knight. But like I was wondering, Kurapika using force like might have only stolen like stealthily stolen like that says fake Scarlet with like this precise to eventually execute this precise plan. With this precise intent, Kurapika might have definitely stolen the fake Scarlet and since Kurapika is like a conjurer, like the Kurapika might have definitely straight away be able to tell that like that Scarlet is like not the real but like a fake Scarlet and all that. It's certainly not the able to. And so that Kurapika even giving that fake Scarlet to Central to might be with like might be something that Kurapika did while precisely knowing that Scarlet so eventually would be reaching that precise hotel, which would be like that precise place that Kurapika might have planned to like launch the ultimate ambush attack to like abduct one of its friends from member of the city. This is certainly my question framework. So like that way, like the fake Scarlet ending up in like that precise hotel and Ambassador next, according to the Kurapika and Hisoka's next plan, like Ambassador, they might have been totally planning on them. Like since like at that point, I think like the final group members might have not known that basically. Uh, since like even at that point, like the final group members didn't know about like the chain users connection to like the Scarlet Eyes. So like Ambassador at that point, like according to like Kurapika and Hisoka's secret plan, like it might have been like Hisoka's turn to like basically according to their initial plan, Hisoka's task might have been to like precisely eventually get the information to like make it seem like it's like happening accidentally or like naturally, basically the panel member or like or finding out about like Kurapika's connection to like the chain user's connection to like the card, right? Like that might have been like the task of Hisoka after Kurapika doing all this and ensuring that like fake Scarlet Tiger reached that portal, like according to like Kurapika and Hitoka's like secret plan, like it might have been his Hitoka's turn to like basically ensure that like somehow the final group members find out about like the chain user being like a member of like the Kurapika clan and having the Scarlet Tiger. So that like at that point like the Phantom Pro like eventually Chrollo would be totally so that like at that point Chrollo would be totally thinking along the lines of it to like totally take advantage of like the real Scarlet type and like the fact that like Kotopi is like a member of the final group member like Kotopi has like is like a conjurer and basically to use that conjurer ability to like try to like create like using the original Scarlet type which was created using like the original Scarlet Eye in their pocket to like trace like the fake Scarlet Eye and that way try to like find out that way like for like the final proof to like try to like go up to that precise hotel to like capture Kurapika. With that intent like for like that way to for like the final proof to like head off to that precise hotel. This might have been like the initial plan of like between like Kurapika and Hisoka that they might have been trying to achieve. So like even before Hisoka might have even put in might have even been planning on putting like, that plans even before Hisoka could even put any effort into like getting that information to like actually get that information and make it appear natural as it like and that way to get that information that the chain use of is like the person with like the has like Scarlet Eyes to Chrollo, which even before his okay could even do that Lambo bring what might have like even before that like it might have potentially happened with like Chrollo using like stealing neon like his of premonition powers and using that for premonition like Chrollo straight away like totally like finding out or totally having a feeling that basically Kura of like the definite possibility of like Kurapika like the same user being like the person with like the Scarlet Eye like basically this might have happened even before like Shizuoka should do his part of like his like strategy with like Kurapika, which definitely my person. So like things might have been totally extremely convenient for both Kurapika and Shizuoka at that point that like basically Chrollo straight away through the promotion like straight away like seriously suspecting like the bottom tape like same news of having a Scarlet Eye and from that point on things might have totally uh, uh, happened in like a chain reaction kind of manner with like the phantom troop straight away deciding to like adopt to that prepared portal is definitely my percent. So this might have been what might have happened. It's definitely my percent. So like I'm considering precisely according to my percent right now, since I'm considering precisely way back when Kurapika had stolen like the fake Scarlet Eye from like the second underground option itself. Like at that since at that point itself, like about Kurapika and his according to their strategy might have been planning on this like precise portal ambush attack with like cutting off the power and like affecting one of like the phantom group and but like Hitoka and Kurapika might have suggested and planned this out even from way back then. That might be the reason for like for like Kurapika being able to like precisely execute, coordinate and precisely execute this uh, with like such great precision that like Kurapika was able to like even abduct with like the combined effort of like Gon Killua, Senritsu, Leorio, like Kurapika, the fact that Kurapika was able to like execute the this plan perfectly and basically was able to like precisely abduct the leadership itself of like the Phantom Troop with such ease. Like the fact that this was possible for them for Kurapika and team might be precisely because of like Kurapika having most likely having like planned this out and strategized it this like strategy out this trap out from way back when like from like the point where Kurapika had stolen like the fake Charlotte and gave it to Center. So it's definitely my personal impression. So like this would be something that like so like this would be the reason for like it being extremely confusing for Patinoda, like how exactly Kurapika was able to like execute this like affection of like Chrollo with like such ease and outsmarted like the Phantom Troop in that portal with like such ease. Like the fact that this is so it's kind of confusing for Patinoda would be precisely due to like Patinoda and not knowing this truth is definitely my personal impression. But the big impressions were like according to like Kurapika and his authors like strategical plan like they might have Kurapika might have totally expected for like might have totally expected and thought that basically Koala, like the bodyguard friend of Kurapika, to actually be able to like escape with like the Scarlet face with the fake Scarlet Eye out of your out of like your city before like the Phantom Group members would be able to like capture it. And yet, it's definitely my personal reaction as for what Kurapika might have initially hoped is definitely my personal and that might be the precise reason for like Kurapika even straight away like the moment even though like constantly Kurapika might have only given like the fake Charles Isis and Rutsu so that like it would eventually reach that place hotel where like the bodyguard front of Kurapika were staying and their place was like so that might have been definitely a conscious act by Kurapika. Still, like the fact that like Kurapika, the moment Senritsu found out that basically like the Bandu crew members were getting to like that hotel itself. I think like Second Rosa had said straight away called and informed Kurapika about like the Phantom group members like getting to that hotel. And at that point, I think like Kurapika had basically straight away called Kuala and told Kuala to like escape and get away from that hotel as soon as possible. So like at that point, like I'm considering Kurapika might have been totally betting on like Kuala actually being able to like get away from Yokohama City on time with like the fake car like so that like Chrollo and like the entire random group members who get only naively assuming that basically the chain user had gotten away with like the and escaped with like the fake car that and left Yokohama City so that like for just for Africa's plan and his other plan like they might have only expected for Chrollo and his like random group members to like still with like to temporarily hold off their shapes behind like the changes of for the time being because of like it and for a pigmented only thought if Koala had escaped like the ethnicity with like the star types then at that point like for some time like definitely for the time being definitely Chrollo and his like final group members won't be able to like chase after Koala at that point so like they might instead decide to like head back to that like portal and basically so they might decide Chrollo might decide to like head back to that precise portal to like basically search for any evidence connecting to like the chain user in that precise portal from that where like they totally believe the chain user had stayed with like the fake star type. This might have been like what like according to like Toka and Kurapika's like initial strategical plan what And so that like at that point when Chrollo and crew would be like entering like that hotel for like and at that point when Chrollo and like the final crew would be entering like that hotel for like basically at that point for like Kurapika to like proceed with her strategy and literally cut off the power and affect like one of its final crew members. It might have been like Kurapika's like initial plan, but like all that might have totally gone wrong with like basically Squala not being able to like Squala not being fast enough to be able to like get away on time and with like Chrollo and like the Phantom Group after leaving after entering out of like the subway like basically straight away being able to like chase after like Squala. And basically like at that point might be when like all of like Kurapika's strategy and plan might have totally gone like totally on the opposite direction of that of like what Kurapika might have expected, and that might have caused like Kurapika to like totally recklessly chase after like Chrollo. That might have been what Kurapika might have done. At that point, like Kurapika might have totally felt that definite possibility of like Squala dying by the hands of like Chrollo and team that basically at that point like Kurapika might have decided to like basically even put her life on that extreme but just to save Swana, her bodyguard friend, and that may be the source of the book that Kurapika straight away recklessly running and chasing after like Chloro and team as they were like chasing after Swana, definitely my consideration. So that like that way to like get them to like at that point Kurapika's plan might have been maybe to like so that way distract Chrollo and Crow, and basically that way at that point for like Crow and Kurapika to maybe to like run all the way back to like to distract and get the attention of like Chrollo and like the remaining Planet of members, and so that like they might stop their chase after Chrollo and maybe like might chase after like Kurapika, and so that like at that point like for Kurapika to like run straight to like that success portal so that like that way to like execute like Kurapika's like practical plan of like affecting one of the family group members might be like Kurapika's plan at that point while Kurapika might have been recklessly chasing after Chrollo and Crow while they were chasing after Squala. Definitely my consideration. So my personal impression is that like even at that point, like I'm talking about Kurapika might have totally underestimated like the speed of like the fan of presence, and that might be how like Kurapika and Gon might have gotten trapped in that alleyway, and it might be solely due to that extreme sheer luck, and not it wouldn't be a part of any of Kurapika's plan that basically Killua might have even precisely coincidentally thrown him to that alleyway, and that resulting in precisely Gon and Killua precisely alone being getting caught by like the fan of so that like. Uh, and that way, like Kurapika, the same user, like luckily, so only due to that sheer luck might have been able to like escape like the captivity of like the Chrollo and the Phantom Troop. So that like at that point, that might have been how like Kurapika might have still been able to like proceed ahead with like the proceed ahead with like Tuff's plan of like that portal abduction of like one of like the final those. Definitely what might have happened is definitely my personal theory and prediction. So like considering Kurapika might have also not expected for like Chrollo to like basically the moment like Kurapika and when like Kurapika and Gon were chasing after like the kind of group that were chasing after like Koala and his car, like at that point for Chrollo to take the decision to like split up among themselves, like even that might have been maybe something that Kurapika might have not expected to happen. It's definitely my personal expectation. So like the fundamental impression right now as for like the change impression for right now like so like absolute best to like trigger Kurapika and the thing that Chrollo would be like consistent and deliberately doing as part of Chrollo counter strategy is definitely my personal because like of there being like a Conjurer Phantom Troop member also in like the Phantom Troop group, like Ambassador Chloro would have learned a lot already, would have know has like a lot of knowledge when it comes to like Conjurer and then like through learning a lot from Cortopi. It's definitely my personal dream. So that like Ambassador Chloro right now would be like kind of well and fully aware that basically for like Kurapika using her chain to be able to like defeat Mugogen. And right now as like Kurapika is like also used her very same chain to like basically also trap someone of like the levels of strength as Rolo as well. And but Rolo would be right now well and fully aware that basically there will be definitely a lot of name conditions involved in like Kurapika's chain currently. Kurapika is like a concept like her chain having like basically And I'm also Chrollo by now might have also been able to like by carefully looking at Kurapika's chain, like I'm also Chrollo might have also figured that basically Kurapika's chain is not an actual chain, but like it's like a conjure of chain that Kurapika created using certain ability. It's also definitely my business energy. And also this is like I'm considering like Chloro might have only also figured that if this was like a normal chain, like Chloro would have definitely been able to like break it. So like the fact that Chloro is not able to break the chain of Kurapika would be especially and definitely due to like Kurapika's chain being like a then created like conjure of chain of Kurapika is which would be like which would be involving a lot of net conditions. So like I'm considering the black flora right now, triggering doing like absolute best to trigger Kurapika to the extreme. And that way like causing Kurapika to like right now emotionally, like extremely emotionally attack Floro. And I'm considering definitely that would be only due to like Floro being like the leader of like the group, the Phantom group that had basically eliminated like the entirety of the Pacific clan and so that's like that would be like the preparation for like this Kurapika. I'm going to bring right now. Kurapika even acting out way more of like an emotional manner towards like Flora than she did towards like Logan, especially my personal impression. Because of like the actual true reason, like the main lead of the true reason it being for like the for Kurapika's like everyone that the entire Kota clan that's like so precious to Kurapika and Kurapika's family and everyone like all of them being eliminated solely due to like the exact person to follow like that would be so that's the reason for Kurapika right now acting out in an extremely emotional manner, especially members of the this would be exactly what like right now Floro even while being in his like in present state like would be precisely triggering Kurapika for to like basically get Kurapika to be in such an extremely vulnerable and extremely emotional state so that like that way like Kurapika might like accidentally break a few of her at least one or like a few of her net conditions so that like that way like the power of like Kurapika's chain would greatly might reduce so that like that way Flora would be able to like free himself from like the powers of Kurapika's net chain jail. It's definitely my decision. This would be the best counter strategy that Flora would be right now using against Kurapika and this would be the best reason for like Flora right now triggering Kurapika to the extreme, and that will be a deliberate attempt of like a counter strategy by Chrollo towards like Kurapika. Definitely my percentage and to completely for Chrollo to free himself and take the chain user out himself. It's definitely my percentage impression. So also my percentage impression is that basically even when I think like when Kurapika had created like the chain jail, like basically at that point, it's like basically I think that one of the Kurapika's conditions were like to maintain peace of mind at all situations. Like I'm considering right now with like Kurapika acting out in an extremely emotional manner and attacking Chloro. I'm considering this to totally weaken the strength of like the change here. Yet like I'm considering due to all the multiple name conditions like Kurapika change here would be so exceptionally strong that like I'm considering Chrollo even right now not being able to like free himself from like the change here. Yet like I'm considering like the change here strength I'm considering to definitely get weakened bit by bit is what I'm preferring right now to happen. So like I'm preferring Floro even after taking all the attacks from Kurapika, still keeping on triggering Kurapika like the scenario that I'm possible. So like wherever like according to like Kurapika's strategy, wherever Kurapika would be taking Chrollo to and those different stills, even there I'm preferring Floro to like still keep on triggering Kurapika, especially on the neighborhood events. And right now I'm considering also for most likely maybe like Kurapika might be right now planning on taking Chrollo to maybe to at a certain location and considering most likely there precisely Hisoka would be showing up precisely there. It's definitely my personal favorite and that would be considering maybe for like the moment where like Hisoka would be making the just like a reveal to Chrollo that like she was like a traitor all along like such scenario and the thing to happen right now without much great delay. And I'm also bringing that would be like the first location to which like Kurapika would be right now taking Chrollo to is also definitely my dream. Like definitely my dream person right now. Not for like Sentrosus reveal that basically Chrollo like some about like Chrollo's calmness and Chrollo accessing of that and all that. And also bringing to this solely due to like Chrollo like extreme overconfidence and overestimation of it like Phantom Group as a Phantom Group as remaining Phantom Group members as a group and like chloro overestimation of like how seriously the Panthers members like take chloro species as well. It's definitely my opinion. So like the different so current calmness even while being seriously attacked by Kurapika, like and then like ambassador Chloros like calmness and all that will be totally coming from like Chloro totally believing genuinely falsely believing that basically that like the spiders would definitely survive even if Chloro dies right now that the spiders would still survive. Solely due to like the spiders, like the remaining members of like the limbs of the spiders, like the remaining members of like the phantom group, like basically wholeheartedly and straight away listening to like the exact teachings that Chrollo had taught them in like the past to basically to like even in such a situation to like let the leader of Chrollo die so that like the spiders could like live on and move on is definitely for the spiders to survive. It's definitely my recommendation to be like a floor of extreme or confidence in floor of like teaching that would be like the total for floor of being so calm right now. It's definitely my personal recommendation. And for differing so floor of would be like not at all even expecting like the current situation where like so like right now, what Chloro would be expecting right now is for like with like Bonacqua Silva being in like the captivity of like the remaining fan of group members. Like Chloro, they're right now thinking that basically like Papinoda would have right now totally like read all the memories of like Bon and Silva, and that way like Papinoda and like the remaining fan of group members by now might have totally like learned of everything about Kurapika and how Kurapika's like chain powers works and everything. So like definitely at this point, like his like remain Kurapika the chain user no matter which strat, what kind of strategy the chain user of Kurapika uses against like the remaining kind of members, like Kurapika is definitely going to be brought down by the remaining kind of members. And then basically also that basically through reading like the memories of Gon actually are like definitely none of like the fan group the remaining fan group members will be at all in danger at all against like the changes of Kurapika. Since like by now they will be knowing like of like the exact strategy or as like as that strategies that like Kurapika right now is like planning for both remaining panel members as well as like exactly how Kurapika's like same powers even work. But the limit of the will to be that absolute core constants of like Chloro without realizing that basically already right now like much people like panel members like Machi as well as like Nobunaga have strongly decided not to like reveal, not to like have like Papinoda read the memories of Gon and Killua and basically reveal it to like the remaining Panotros members. That basically that like Panotros members like Machi and Machi currently like Panotros members like Machi Papinoda as well as like Nobunaga have decided to like basically prioritize like to go against like the regions of Chrollo and basically prioritize like the survival of Chrollo right now. This would be like this would be one thing that Chrollo would be not even expecting in his like wild of trees for such a scenario, and this would be like the lack of awareness of like the current situation. This like the current situation would be the sole reason for like Chrollo's current calmness and acceptance of it. That's definitely my cousin the impression. Yes, so like definitely my cousin the impression right now. And for like Kurapika's like doubts on like the possibility of like Sora not being like the leader of like the final group during like the elimination of like the Gotha clans. That would be like totally a false possibility. Definitely my cousin. Yeah, because like my cousin the impression is definitely that like Flora might have been like the third person who even created like the final group that he might have created like the final group through like the promise that Flora might have given to his like dead best friend in like that way back in like the Brisbane past. Like it might be like the creation of the Phantom Group might be like definitely have a connection to that promise that Flora might have given to his like that best friend. So definitely might be maybe due to that promise that Amber friend that Flora might have even created like the Phantom Group. It's definitely my person dream. So like definitely my person dream is that Flora might have been like the leader of like the Phantom Group ever since like the inception of like the kind of capacity is definitely my personal impression. Like the name of the personal impression right now is basically that basically the floor of like extreme triggering of like Sorapika will be based on like that absolute extreme or confidence that Flora right now having, especially because of like the earlier premonition from earlier having mentioned nothing about Flora dying by the hands of like the game user. So like so that is only due to this reason like I'm considering Flora right now. It'd be totally thinking along the lines as if like triggering Kurapika to like the maximum. would be how Chrollo would be like, no matter how much Chrollo triggers Kurapika, and no matter how much Kurapika is unable to like control her emotions, still Kurapika won't be able to take the life of Chrollo. Would be what one thing that Chrollo is right now, absolutely confidently assuming and confident about it, definitely my person. So like from Chrollo's point of view, Chrollo would be totally I'm switching to my person that Chrollo would be right now totally assuming and thinking that basically along the lines that basically Kurapika's chain could have such extreme power to hold even flow down would be precisely due to that great number of finance conditions being especially present in that chain of like Kurapika. So like by triggering Kurapika to the extreme, like basically Chloro, like Kurapika change the net conditions which might get so might break in such a manner and Kurapika's chain would be becoming weak and that way and basically that way that would be how Chloro would be able to like free himself without having Kurapika take Chloro's life and that way like the premonition of Chloro ending up being so this would be what Chloro would be even for seeing like the scenario as an expectation this would be precisely Chloro's expectations as Chloro right now would be like even triggering Kurapika to the extreme definitely my percentage so like definitely my percentage right now with like Chloro that triggers doing that with the stand triggering Kurapika to the extreme but like I'm going to bring to the after a certain point like Kurapika straight away calming down like I'm going to bring like and right now that Chloro even feeling as like he has found like the key user's weakness and also especially because of Cold of like the conjure presence in like the as like a member of the final of like campus different Chloro might have only might be well and fully aware of like how to let the level of strength like a conjurer can reach up to. And yet for Kurapika to be able to like bring down not only Logan but also for Kurapika's team to be strong enough to like contain and trap Chloro as well considering Chloro definitely would be expecting a lot of Indian conditions from Chloro because like considering Chloro starts up while being in like the car and like Chloro triggering Kurapika might have been like precisely maybe Chloro searching for what exactly those Indian conditions of like Kurapika are like Chloro might have wanted to like figure out at least one Indian condition. So like I'm considering with like Kurapika getting Chloro triggering Kurapika to the extreme and like Kurapika no, even while Kurapika Toro had done his absolute maximum, and Kurapika was almost reaching like such reaching her anger. Kurapika's anger was like reaching beyond a certain point. Like Kurapika right then itself like basically like extremely reluctantly containing her anger and calming down quickly. And but the point that might be like the point. Like that might be like the point when like it might have been. Uh, but different that might be like the right point where like Flora might have found Kurapika's actual weakness and that actual one among Kurapika's main condition and that would be like precisely and then considering at that point Flora might have realized that basically Kurapika's like one of like the end condition would definitely be Kurapika might have made an end condition on her life like basically the change surrounding her heart like basically Flora right now might have figured that basically Kurapika's life itself is like bound by the chain and that's the reason for like that like one of like the main end condition that gives Kurapika's chain such extreme power and like the end condition will be precisely that like for Kurapika to like maintain that peace of mind and not get triggered beyond a certain level so that like that would be straight away taking Kurapika's life. So like I'm considering this would be what Chloro might have figured right now is definitely my percentage impressions. So like the fact that Chloro right now even think that he has found Kurapika's weakness would be exactly this like triggering Kurapika beyond that certain limit is what Kurapika's weaknesses would be what Chloro might have figured and that would be like that being like the key for Chloro to be able to like free himself from Kurapika's chain would be like what Flora might have figured right now is definitely my personal impression. So like the fact that Flora right now thinks that basically he can hit it accurately would be precisely Flora thinking about like basically Flora being able to like precisely easily Flora already right now itself with like little effort like Flora already having uh like anger Kurapika to such levels like Flora would be totally thinking that with like an actual if like Chloro actually puts in like proper effort, like Chloro will be able to like easily get Kurapika to like have her anger lose go beyond the limit and lose for Kurapika to like even lose her control over her anger and that would be like instantly causing like Kurapika's death and causing like the same use of that way to be brought down. before the chain user like Kurapika would be even able to like do anything against Chrollo. Especially what Chrollo might have right now figured is definitely my perspective. Right now, also Chrollo might have only figured that Kurapika's change power comes from like the condition that Kurapika would have made on her life. So definitely my perspective. Do not have peace of mind go beyond a certain level might be what Flora might have right now figured, and this will be like the first strategy that Flora from this point on will be precisely using against Kurapika. Will be precisely right now. I'm considering Flora after like a bit, I'm considering after some time, like I'm considering Flora precisely strategizing out like precisely the precise moment to like once again start triggering Kurapika. And at that point, I'm considering Chrollo should put in way more effort into like triggering Kurapika. And I'm considering that to like only work against Kurapika and it's being extremely hard for Kurapika to contain her anger. It's like the scenario that I'm considering. And yet like I'm considering like Kurapika somehow managing to like contain her anger. I'm considering still Kurapika's anger towards Chrollo going beyond the set limit and that causing to maybe like Kurapika to get like maybe like a bit of injury from within and like that only affecting Kurapika is also like the scenario that I was bring. Yet like Kurapika being able like still even though her anger will be going beyond the limit like considering it to know go far beyond the limit before that Kurapika realizing her mistakes and Kurapika hopefully calming her down. Just like the scenario that I was the scenario that I was only putting and my personal impression. Canadian was the thing of like about like Floro, like after while like once again like consciously the next time like just like that absolute effort Floro next time like putting on such like triggering strategy to like seasons trigger Kurapika and that totally work against Kurapika and basically Kurapika go getting anger to beyond the limit and that affecting Kurapika and Kurapika's change powers and that way like Floro most likely even freeing from himself when the Floro at that point would be triggering Kurapika to trigger Kurapika into basically taking Kurapika's life. Still, that effort of Floro was ready to fail with like Kurapika after going beyond the limit and once like it would be starting to affect Kurapika's health. Like at that point, considering Kurapika becoming conscious and calming herself down. But like I'm considering that whole factor of like Kurapika's anger going beyond the limit and was interpreting for it will like cause Kurapika's it will totally affect the temporarily affect like the same powers of Kurapika and that possibly being like the point where like Loro even being able to like break free from like the chain of Kurapika. But like I'm considering at that point like I'm considering maybe like Chloro possibly and I'm considering at that point maybe like even though Chloro will be like trying attacking Kurapika and maybe like Kurapika will be taking a lot of like interest from like that type of floor of still I'm considering at that point without much delay Hisoka would be like going up to that precise location where like Chloro and Kurapika would be and that would be the point when I'm considering maybe for like the Chloro versus Hisoka fight to like begin it's like the also like an eventual topic scenario that I'm considering and not remember. Yeah, there's like the new the re-impression right now and for like the call from the boss floor of phone to like the remaining final group and the like I'm considering definitely being from precisely Kurapika and I'm considering this will be like the next part of Kurapika's strategy, which I'm considering maybe Kurapika might not have even revealed to like neither Leone, Leorio God or Kilua either. So, so like maybe of like a possibility that I'm considering, or like they might be well and fully aware of like the strategy as well. And I'm considering as part of the strategy, I'm considering like right now Kurapika calling and phoning the remaining eight Phantom Pro members who are currently in like the hotels. And I'm considering Kurapika telling them to like precisely go up to this like precise location. It's like the scenario that I'm considering. And that location would be like the ultimate trap, next trap set for like that those precise the remaining eight Phantom Pro members, especially my person in the hotel. Like I'm considering Kurapika telling them to like go to a specific location and there I'm considering like the precise people who would be present in that location to precisely take down these eight Phantom Pro members who will precisely Silva, Zeno, as well as like Kindoni, as well as like Kindoa's sister. It's definitely my personal empathy. Which is like the scenario that I'm talking about. This much fight of like secretly since there are assassins like I'm considering that ultimate stealth they would be like the Zodiac family so Zodiac family members would be precisely stealthily lying hidden and waiting for like precisely the eight Phantom members to reach that location. And I'm considering this will be precisely due to like Kurapika definitely having like secretly phoned like precisely uh, either Silva or Zeno. And I'm considering that definitely Kurapika might have revealed to them that basically like Chindo as part of like our team that's like basically trying to take down the Phantom Troop. And I'm looking at that point, expectations like Silva is like such a price competition for like I mean like Kilwa would be like taking on the Phantom Troop along with like Kurapika would be what Kurapika might have found and told either Silva or like then also like since like Kilwa is like such a price position for like Sudodic family. And also like it's like for Silva and then would be only seeing as like that member of like the Zoldyck family that would be having like that has like the biggest greatest potential to like take the eventually take like the Zoldyck family to like great heights. Like I was different precisely with the first like I was different definitely they were totally agreeing and Zeno definitely theory out of Zeno like genuine love and concern towards like Killua was different. Zeno totally taking the decision to like help Kurapika and basically it's to basically precisely because like Zeno won't be when definitely to basically ensure the protection of Killua like basically Zeno might have only agreed to like Kurapika and might have decided to like basically team up with like Kurapika to bring down the Phantom Group and the definitely Silva as well would have definitely might have certainly because of like Silva totally because of like Silva being so extremely precious to like Silva and preparing totally due to that reason Silva as well totally agreeing to like basically to work according to like Kurapika to like bring down the Phantom Group. Definitely my preference. So, like they would all be like lying away and so like Zeno and either Zeno or Silva might have definitely formed Illumi or Illumi and basically might have told Illumi to like bring his like sister as well to the precise location and I'm going to bring them all might have totally gathered there in the precise location and it will be to the precise location that will be like the ultimate trap that's for those remaining fan group members, 8 fan group members in that portal. With those 8 fan group members have gone and Killua in captivity, I'm going to bring it will be that precise trap location set for them. So like I'm going to bring Kurapika totally pointing them to go up to that location. And once they would be making it to that location, I'm preparing like the next trap to be like happening with like I'm preparing maybe I'm preparing another like to be cut off once again. But like I'm preparing that time I'm preparing like maybe for like the Phantom Pro members to be like kind of expecting such a scenario. Or like I'm preparing maybe like the Phantom Pro members like those 8 Phantom Pro members entering that building while expecting it for once again the frame same strategy of like the power to be cut off like but like I'm preparing it will be like a totally different strategy through which like the remaining Zoldyck family members would be like through which like the Zoldyck family members would be launching their ambush attack on those 8 fan members. And at that point, I was referring precisely they would be according to like Zeno's like experience, like Zeno would be totally and I was referring Kurapika might have totally even found maybe even already after like 30 Killua as well as Gon might have been captured by like the fan members right now. Uh, at that point, still fan considering according to Jack Kurapka's strategy, Kurapka might have possibly phoned precisely Zeno or most likely Zeno and told Zeno that about like Bond as well as Killua. There being like a change in plan and basically changes the situation with like Bond and Killua being captured by like the fans. So like I'm just different precisely because of the numbers they were supporting like as part of like the strategical ambush attack like exactly Zeno might have told Silva as well as Illumi as well as like Illumi took up that basically to precisely launch the ambush attack in such a manner that like uh, the first random group members that they would be targeting would be like the precise four precise random group members that have both gone as well as Skillu as well as gone in captivity. So like to free gone and Skillu first would be like their initial uh, initial like task that they should be doing and like it will be only after that they should be like even attacking like the remaining kind of program. So like in such a practical manner with like that absolute self and recovering the all the family members like basically like straight away saving like Bond as well as Killua and then members separate all of them collectively like possibly like most likely taking on the 8 fan members and that way like the Zoldyck family along with like Killua and Tron totally offering and defeating like those 8 fan members is like the scenario that I'm debating right now and members didn't understand. While Kurapika on the other hand like basically Leorio, the team of like Leorio, Centro and like Kurapika and Chrollo, like right now according to Kurapika's plan, like they would be like precisely taking Chrollo to a different location where like precisely Hisoka would be like most likely showing up. to have this like 1 versus 1 fight against like Chrollo. It's like the winter scenario that enters the role for again mental reintroduction. So like definitely mental reintroduction right now that is even though Kurapika is like phoning like the those 8 fandom members in like the hotels while like Chrollo is like right there present in like the very same car that Kurapika is in. Like still able to bring Chrollo right now solely due to his like extreme overconfidence of like him having found like Kurapika's like the Chinese weakness like and bring Chrollo totally due to that extreme overconfidence and also due to like Chrollo's extreme overconfidence that basically his like remaining family members are totally going to follow exactly according to like Chrollo's teaching and are not going to like basically like prioritize are not going to like prioritize or like be worried for like floor of safety, like things like floor of or confidently thing in such a manner and also think while Kurapika would be like telling the three right now through the sponsor would be revealing to these three orders for like the remaining fan group, 8 fan members at the hotel. Like at that point, after the critical Floro still, even though Floro would be having this opportunity to shout out through shout out and basically reveal to send some sort of a message to that to his remaining 8 fan members who are like answering like the Kurapika's phone call from like that person. Still, I'm considering Flora not doing that solely due to his extreme confidence and Flora would be like totally remaining silent throughout like the entirety of like Kurapika's like phone call to like the remaining fans members. Even while Flora would be right now well, it's like right now well and fully aware that Kurapika is not going to like right now be able to like take the role of life at all. Yet like I'm considering Flora can actually take advantage of that factor and basically would you can shout out any sort of message to like the many panel members who are in like the call with Kurapika, yet like I'm also consolidated for Floro confidence Floro still remaining silent and Floro and also trying to be totally thinking that in an off confident manner that like by now like basically even by like his remaining kind of Kurapika are just like giving all these three orders to like the remaining panel members like they would have already by now would have probably read all the memories of like Gon and Killua and by now might have figured out like the society's exact weakness and like the strategies that through like reading the memories of Gon and Killua like basically through Kakanoda like basically the remaining 8 final group members at the hotel right now would be like when I'm fully aware of like Kurapika the strategies that Kurapika is like planning ahead for them as well as like basically as to like exactly how exactly Kurapika's chain power works and about like Kurapika's weakness and all that. Like by now, like the remaining 8 fan group members might have figured out about all that. Would be what Flora would be right now or confidently thinking. By Kurapika is in like the phone call with like the remaining 8 fan group members that I'm considering right now. So only is that our confident Flora totally remaining silent. So that entirety of like that phone call is like the scenario that I'm looking at bring him into generation. So like definitely we have to listen right now as for like the precise weakness of like the changes or that Flora has figured out. Like I'm just putting I'm right now I'm leaning more towards the positive that like what Flora might have only figured out might be like the weakness at the true weakness of like the changes of his like her bond with like her bond of friendship, that absolute friendship with like Gon and Killua. Like Gon and Killua are basically like the changes of weakness. Like their life, when their life is at stake, like basically Kurapika refusing to like even take the life of like the precise person who Chloro, who caused like the elimination of like the entirety of like the contract line. The fact that Kurapika was willing to like put her life at such extreme risk solely to like get revenge for what like the fandom for like the fandom for like actors taking the life of it was like the fact that Kurapika was willing to like without any hesitation was willing to like put her life at that extreme risk to like all by herself turn against like the and fight the fandom for yet like the fact that like someone like that is like only totally extremely hesitant even while having like the boss the leader of the fandom for Floro is right beside her like still that this person who without hesitation had even taken Wogan's life, like being hesitant to take Chloro's life right now would be solely due to like precisely her friends like Ron and Killua being in as being hostages so uh, under like the remaining fantasy by their side like So this might be precisely what Flora might have figured that basically gone and kill are like Kurapika's weakness. And I'm considering that the Flora's mention of like the unexpected fatal wound of like the chain user, which Flora can take advantage of. Considering that unexpected fatal wound would be precisely like the unexpected presence of like would be with Flora. I'm considering Flora, but only thinking of comparing that unexpected fatal wound to basically unexpected like to basically gone as well as kill was present in like the open city being like an unexpected totally unexpected to Kurapika that basically right now the same user is like totally is being forced to like totally struggles to guarantee like safety of like Gon and Killua and had Gon and Killua not been hostages right now under like the 8 member Panther group like then Kurapika would have exactly killed Chrollo exactly like the Virgin, and basically this Chloro might have only even tied this up with like that premonition about Chloro that basically Chloro won't die by the hands of like the chain user, having to do with like basically this precise exact situation where like while Chloro has been captured by Kurapika exactly like a Virgin, like the only difference thing being like basically due to that Chloro's that precisely gone as well as into being in captivity by like the Phantom. So that's only guaranteeing Chloro's survival. Like basically, so like Gon and Killua being Kurapika's like ultimate the change is ultimately would be what Chloro might have only figured, and this would be the precise reason for like right now as like Kurapika even phoning and talking to like Patinoda as well as like Nobunaga. Even the fact that Kurapika even specifically repeatedly mentions to like even Nobunaga the case even if one to bring like the hostages to the right location and even if one of them is missing like the fact that Kurapika repeatedly presents them with like taking the boat like even if one of like the hostages is missing and like the fact that like uh, uh, it is only due to like Gonachilla being that much of like an extremely precious to like Sorabika. It's definitely my preference. And Chloro bit only comparing this with like Chloro teaching of that he had given like the past to like the final group where like Chloro had ability from Chloro's point of view, Chloro bit only saying that like the Phantom Troops and then with like Phantom Troops it being already revealed that Phantom Troop members, two of the Phantom Troop members having already died in like the past, like basically that will be all according to the teachings of Chrollo. Yes, also like even Wogan stuff that will be totally according to like the teachings of Chrollo, where like Wogan as well might have totally prioritized his death over like basically leaking any information of like the Phantom Group, like to like guarantee the survival of like the Phantom Group as per like Chrollo's teaching. Like the survival of the Phantom Group, like Wogan might have totally listened according to like Chrollo's teaching and prioritize the survival of like the Phantom Group over like Wogan's like survival. So like I'm wondering precisely because of this reason, like according to Chrollo's teaching, like the so since like Laura has taught the remaining of the final group members that basically even if like the leader himself, Laura himself get captured by any enemy, like basically even in such a scenario, like the remaining final group members could only prioritize the survival of the fighters, like as a group, rather than prioritizing the survival of like the leader of Pro. It's definitely my experience. So Chloro will be comparing this with like in parallel to like the chain user and the chain users team, where like currently the on one side where Chloro has been like kept a hostage, like on the other side it's like Gon and Killua that being like kept a hostage, where like in Chloro's case, like Chloro is only namely assuming and or confident that basically the of like the remaining Phantom group members like totally listening to like Chloro's teaching and totally like take advantage of Gon and Killua in captivity into like basically reading like the memories of Gon and Killua and that way figuring out the entire strategy of Kurapika and that way like the remaining 8 Phantom group members not even listening to like Kurapika's phone call orders and basically all of them coming together to that different airport and modulating Barcelona leave all by herself. And basically, like even though right now Floral is only expecting for like the remaining Spanish members to have like to be like actually be like trying to like trick Kurapika into like basically listening to like the phone to the things that Kurapika will be saying through the phone calls while Floral is only expecting that the remaining tandem, 8 Phantom members will be totally listening according to like Loro's teaching and totally will be prioritizing the survival of the Phantom group. And would be like totally actually through actions they would be like totally disobeying like all the orders of like the uh, all the orders of like Kurapika, and even then like Flora only would be also thinking along the lines of like the costume poem that being precisely right with like the Kurapika not being a, like floor of life, and that being solely due to like the Thorn and Killua being like hostages with and their hostages with like the remaining eight panel group members, like that resulting in like a lot of safety from Kurapika would be what Flora thing, and this would be what that ultimate weakness that Chrollo sees in like the chain user, and would be like totally hoping, which like Chrollo would be totally hoping that Pachinoda and the others to be able to like figure out, but like and those different different thing that Pachinoda and the others won't be able to like see through these things and won't be able to like figure out that basically Kurapika as to like how extremely precious Ron and Killua to Kurapika. And I'm going to bring like definitely like the remaining final group members like probably falling into the trap of like the same user, and basically that way I'm going to bring Nobunaga as well as them totally naively assuming that basically Kurapika doesn't care about like Gon and Killua's life, and basically them all naively like listening to like the threats of Kurapika, like uh, and basically specifically because of that, like I'm considering that the remaining eight fans members totally listening to Kurapika, and then delivering uh, especially Nobunaga fall back himself showing up to that precise location where like the final group members often meet, and that will be precisely like Kurapika was saying that will be precisely intended for like the trap set for Nobunaga precisely by Hisoka. I certainly remember especially because like certainly remember that Hisoka might have been even from way back when Hisoka will be Hisoka says that like gone, especially gone and Killua like life are like so extremely precious to Hisoka because like Hisoka, and I'm also Hisoka was also genuine about like Hisoka bonding that challenging ultimate fight like the future against like Gon and Killua, and I'm also specifically because of that like and Hisoka even from like the past days like Gon and Killua's survival is like extremely important for Hisoka, so I would be totally genuine about it. So like I'm considering precisely once like eventually like Nobunaga just totally listens to Kurapika's orders and brings like the hostages Gon and Killua to that precise location where like the kind of group would be usually often meeting. And I'm considering that it would be that order might have been given in such a manner so that like Hisoka would be easily able to like make it to that precise location, so that Hisoka would know that location. Hisoka would be easily able to like make sure to that location, take Nobunaga's life and save Gon and Killua. This definitely makes the my personal impression that's like the scenario that I'm considering. While Pakanoda, I'm considering definitely also listening to like also fearing the chain user, and also listening to exactly listening to like the orders of the chain user and Pakanoda as well, all by herself, like showing up to that like Rangoon airport all by herself, like the scenario that I'm looking. So like my personal impression is that like according to like Kurapika and Hisoka's plan, like their plan would be to like precisely have Hisoka show up to the precise location. Nobunaga would be bringing like the hostage stone and Killua, so that like Hisoka would be able to like since it's like it would be Nobunaga all by himself, like Hisoka would be easily able to like take Nobunaga's life, and that way save Gon and Killua, so that like the Gon and Killua finally that way being freed from like the captivity of the command and group, like certainly Kurapika at that point itself, like for like and according to the plan, like it would be for at that point itself, like for Hisoka to like call and report it to Kurapika that like Gon and Killua have been saved, so that like at that point itself, like Kurapika could like straight away not worry at all about like taking control of life, so that at that point itself for Kurapika to take control of life, and then for like I'm going to bring that to be like the plan of like Kurapika. And I'm going to bring maybe Kurapika might have even liked to Hisoka that basically like for like Hisoka to like save Gon and Killua, and in exchange for saving Gon and Killua, that Kurapika would be giving Hisoka that ultimate fight that Hisoka so desperately wants to like go be what Kurapika might have offered to like and sold and promised to Hisoka, which considering Kurapika might be totally planning on breaking that promise once like Kurapika will be getting that report from Hisoka that like Hisoka saved Gon and Killua. For like Kurapika at that point, like Kurapika considering to be totally fueled with like extreme rage and extreme sense of wanting to get revenge on Flora, that time, which Kurapika would be planning on breaking that promise once. once like Kurapika would be like finding out about like Swan and Killua being saved, like for Kurapika herself protect the life of Flora might be what Kurapika will be planning right now, according to their strategy. Definitely my person Hamilton, but like the scenario that I'm also putting is so like my person versus that like since I think like Kurapika had supposedly through the comfort zone park in order to basically show up to the airport at 8 o'clock like I'm considering. So maybe like Kurapika might have set the time precisely for Parkanoda in such a manner that basically, and I'm also thinking maybe it might be the time would be only set up for Parkanoda alone. So definitely my information. So Kurapika's plan might be to like precisely have Hisoka take the life of like Nobunaga and basically that way for like to have that bond as well as like Shilua get freed and that way at that point itself like on finding out about it like Kurapika to straight away take floor of like and then precisely for Kurapika to like show up to the airport, Rangoon airport by 8 o'clock and then for Kurapika to like especially take the life of Pabinoda as well. So that like at that point with like only like the remaining kind of group members left that and who would be like not at all be able to know like Kurapika's powers or like strategies because of Pabinoda that like the leader of like the kind of group as well defeated at that point, like Kurapika will be having the absolute confidence to be able to like take the life of like and bring down like the remaining Naruto members. It's definitely my opinion. So like this might be definitely Kurapika's plan, but like as for like the scenario that would be getting played out and those things, it would be most likely I'm considering Hisoka showing up, taking the life of Nobunaga, freeing Gon and Killua, Hisoka calling Kurapika and reporting to Kurapika as for like Gon and Killua being saved so like at that point, I was bringing like Floro to like for here and Floro being totally shocked at the realization of that basically of like Rona Kilua being saved. So like at that point, Floro was totally thinking that basically like one other fan of group member as well might have thought that like the fan of group members might have listened to Sorapika's plan and like so that way like one of the fan group members might have actually died. I be what like Floro was totally realizing and at that point it's like scenario that I was doing. So like at that point I was trying maybe like due to like Kurapika earlier like being extremely triggered, like maybe like the powers of like the chain binding on Chrollo might have definitely weakened up to a certain extent. It's definitely my best friend. And I'm bring like maybe even during that time I'm bring maybe explore even more like trying to like anger Kurapika as well. It's also like about that engagement. So like precisely during the time when like it's about the reporting about like saving Gon and Killua to Kurapika that point itself, like on the different floor of softly hearing that or like while Kurapika will be interacting with Hisoka on phone and Kurapika at that point it's a floor of like being able to like break out of like Kurapika's chain and at that point I'm also bring like the whole control over the Kurapika fight is happening. At that point it's like the scenario that I'm going to bring and I'm going to bring Floro seriously offering and badly injuring Kurapika and so that less Floro will be about to take the life of Kurapika at that very last second is when I'm going to bring like Hisoka precisely showing up to that location and at that point is when I'm going to bring like the whole Hisoka versus Floro fight happening. It's like the scenario that I'm going to bring. So like I'm going to bring maybe for Kurapika to like maybe like at that point like Kurapika totally feeling as if like she won't be at all able to like take Floro's life. Like maybe by then Kurapika might have realized that extreme superiority and strength of that Floro that basically Kurapika maybe like instead deciding to maybe along with that maybe Gon and Killua maybe showing up there or like on the spring Kurapika basically deciding to like basically head off to let Hisoka handle it and basically Hisoka take the life of Chrollo and then maybe like at that point Kurapika being able to like overcome her emotional state and basically extremely or emotional state and basically Kurapika maybe thinking deciding to like basically head off to like the Rangoon airport and basically by 8 o'clock and basically to take Parthenora's life and that way Kurapika taking Parthenora's life by the time like Hisoka and by then, like, I'm looking like the whole Hisoka versus like Zoro fight will be eventually resulting in like maybe like both of them taking a lot of injuries that I'm going to bring eventually maybe like Chloro will be like deciding to like maybe Chloro might not be able to like take Hisoka's life. So like I'm going to bring maybe like at that point with like both of them taking a lot of injuries, maybe Chloro deciding to like retreat and escape for the timing. So also like an eventual working scenario that I'm going to bring in my question range. So like the thing I was doing right now is that like I'm like the current case kind of group members that have gone and killed us like hostage like basically among them, like I'm considering, except for like Pakinada, the remaining all the remaining fan group members, including Martin, might have totally forgotten about the teachings of the Lord. The family members in the and that would be like the sole reason, like and solely due to like them having like forgotten about the teachings of Chrollo, as if about like the survival of the spider being more important than survival of an individual. And also because of like after like all these years passing and basically with them working as a team together, like I'm delivering maybe like the remaining among like the eight band members might have grown more and more dependent on Floro as their absolute leader, that basically they would be able to like imagine Floro's death, like their leader dying is definitely not something. And this might be like collectively the sole reason for like the remaining seven panel group members totally prioritizing like Floros, like their leaders, Doros life right now, definitely not of redemption. It will be only different for Pathanoda alone. It's definitely not of redemption, where like Pathanoda alone currently will be like the only one among like those eight panel members that will be that would have remembered like the teaching of Rolo about like the survival of like the spiders being more important. Yet like for Pathanoda right now to finalize her finalize her decision by herself to basically prioritize the survival of Chrollo by betraying like the remaining panels of members, like basically for Floro to remember the teachings, for Pampinoda to remember the teachings of Chrollo and get to like betray Chrollo with precisely due to like and right now with like Pampinoda even thinking back and seeing like Chrollo from like the past, that memory of Pagnode and Perseverance will be most likely have to do with like definitely Perseverance Pagnode as well might have been a Riordan is definitely a Riordan member of like the fan process definitely member of the Revolution. Like Rollo like Pagnode as well might have been definitely a Riordan member of the fan process definitely member of the Revolution. So like Perseverance back when in like the place where all these Riordans live, like at that point Perseverance there back when Pagnode might have been young, like Perseverance there might have been different this silhouette of this like creature on top of this like a young crawler was standing on anticipating that creature. There might have been all sorts of all sorts of maybe experiments or something like going on in that Riolan area, and anticipating like it might have created like all sorts of like scary monsters and creatures. And anticipating one of back when Pakunoda was young, like anticipating one of these scary creatures might have maybe taken the lives of like Pakunoda's family and might have been about to take even Pakunoda's life. But like at that very last second might have been when a young scroller might have showed up and Pakunoda might have been extremely scared for her life. But like Ambassador, it might have been that young scroller who might have been exceptionally strong even back then. That might have perfectly taken the life of this precise scary monster. And that way, that being the sole reason for Pakunoda being alive even to the present day. Definitely my secondary impression as for what might have happened is definitely my secondary impression. So like Pakunoda right now would be shown that gratitude to Chrollo by basically prioritizing even by even going to the extent of disobeying Chrollo's teaching and basically just to like prioritize Chrollo's like the individual Chrollo's life because of the Pakunoda having that personal feeling of gratitude towards Chrollo. And hence that being like the sole reason for like Pakunoda wanting Chrollo to survive definitely, and that way that being the main the sole reason for Pakunoda right now deciding to like betray Chloro and prioritize like the survival of the individual Chloro right now is definitely my percentage and mission. So, like my percentage prediction is also that when all the remaining seven fan group members would be like prioritizing that Chloro safety due to like them forgetting the teachings of Torah as well as due to like Torah's position as like the strongest among them and as like their absolute leader. But in the case of Pachinoda, considering Pachinoda would be like solely prioritizing Torah's safety solely due to like not and it wouldn't have absolutely nothing to do with like Torah's position as like the absolute leader, but it would be solely has to do with like the personal connection that Pakunoda might have actually felt towards Floro, the individual. Like it would be solely due to like Pakunoda bonding Floro, the individual, not the leader, but like the individual role of to survive. It definitely solidify that personal connections, partner and gratitude partner will be having to that individual roles definitely members preambles and sitting on the definitely members preambles and right now. So, as for like the first person, the serious person to whom like is like right now texting to bring it to be precisely doing to be precisely in the illuminate health that is what I would be teaching right now. Definitely my question. So like that character even telling his daughter that he will have to pay would be like so basically his daughter has to pay in money. It's definitely my secondary answer. For Illumi helping out his daughter, Illumi is like basically telling his daughter that like his daughter has to pay in money. It's definitely my secondary answer. So like I'm looking as for like his daughter and I'm looking at the his daughter totally lying to Illumi just to get Illumi's help. It's also definitely my secondary answer. So it's just casually lying to Illumi is definitely my secondary answer. Especially because like his daughter is saying that basically if Hisoka leaves the Phantom Pro base and goes after like the boss, like goes after Chrollo, then at that point like the boss will die, and like simply that would be one thing that Hisoka would be absolutely well and fully aware that would not happen. So it's because like even if Hisoka leaves the base of the Phantom Pro and chases after Kurapika and like the Kurapika and Chrollo, at that point, even though Centro would be like precisely able to tell Kurapika that basically one of the Phantom Group members is like following us. Even then, after the Pragan definitely Hisoka would be well and fully aware that Kurapika won't be able to take a role of like solely due to like there being that hostage Gon and Killua being like the hostage of the Phantom Group solely as long as like Gon and Killua are like hostages under like the Phantom Group, definitely Kurapika won't be at all won't at all dare to like take role of like would be one thing that Hisoka would be well and fully aware of. It's definitely my consideration. But like the thought Hisoka is like only casually just lying to would be just casually lying to Hilomi just to like make things like convincing enough for Hilomi to like basically to straight away get as quickly as possible get Hilomi's help. It's definitely my consideration. Where exactly like Hisoka would be wanting Hilomi's help would be precisely at like the precise location where like according to like Kurapika's strategy, Kurapika and Hisoka's strategy, like the precise location where like Kurapika has basically told Nobunaga has to bring like the hostages all by himself. Like they are exactly interpreting like Indomie to like show up precisely in that location, like the scenario that I'm delivering. And then I'm delivering like Illumi facing off against and at that point I'm delivering Killua as well as Gon being totally shocked to see Illumi showing up to that location. It's like scenario that I'm delivering. And I'm delivering that location where Kurapika had told Nobunaga to like bring the hostages to that precise location where like the final would often meet up like that location would be according to like Kurapika and Hisoka's strategy and plan because like Hisoka would be secretly knowing that location because of Hisoka being fan of member. So like Hisoka would be revealing that location to texting that location to the coordinates of that location to precisely Illumi. And Illumi would be like the first one that will be showing up to that location to like all three of that to like Nobunaga who know who Illumi is as well as like to the greatest surprise of like Spawn as well as Killua. It's definitely the scenario that I'm going to bring and then I'm going to bring like Illumi totally like starting it's like fight against like Illumi fighting off against Nobunaga like the scenario that I'm going to bring at that point. And I'm going to bring like at that point for Gon and Killua telling offering help to Illumi, but like at that point I'm going to bring Illumi totally condescendingly talking to like Killua and Gon, and I'm going to bring Illumi overconfidently think that Illumi by himself would be able to like overpower and defeat Nobunaga. But like the scenario that I'm just referring is for like as like the fight from the Nobunaga totally sharply or for and defeating starting to like seriously defeat Illumi is like the scenario that I'm going to bring. But so like at that point, I'm considering like Lumi being forced to like seek the help of like Bond and Killua. And at that point, I'm considering actually the collect through it will be finally through the struggling collective efforts of like Lumi, Bond as well as Killua that they will finally be able to like or defeat and take the life of Nobunaga. And I'm considering it would be not Bond, not Killua, but like I'm considering it would be most likely Lumi that will be finally taking the life of Nobunaga is like living the scenario that I'm going to talk about. So like this will be exactly what essentially Hisoka wants. This precise tells that Hisoka is right now texting and it would be precisely to Illumi would be to precisely for Illumi to help out with the precise exact thing so that like all Hisoka would have to like focus on would be precisely like the boss, like Chrollo. That basically so that like at that point Hisoka would be absolutely free to like straight away go up to Chrollo and basically have to fight against Chrollo. That's definitely my personal reaction. So definitely like as for like Hisoka even texting to most likely Lumia that basically if he gets his wish then I won't get mine. That will be most likely Hisoka. That will be totally Hisoka referring to two things. While one thing would be a lie, while the other thing would be like the absolute truth. The lie would be that basically Hisoka texting to Illumi that basically Kurapika has abducted Chrollo, and so if Kurapika gets his wish of like basically taking Chrollo's life, then like Hisoka won't be getting his wish of wanting to like fight off against Chrollo and then to take Chrollo's life. When in actuality, the truth behind that message would be that basically if Chrollo, like what Hisoka might be actually the true meaning behind that I'm totally talking is that what Hisoka would be totally truly meaning behind the true meaning behind that message would be like if Chrollo gets his wish or and basically if Jack Chloro and the Panda Group defeat and takes the life of Kurapika, the chain user, then at that point the only two people that basically Hisoka genuinely cares about, Gon and Killua, they would be dying. So it's definitely my personal reaction. So that will be what the core meaning behind that message, which they won't be able to decipher the definitely my personal reaction. So if Fro takes the life of Gon and Flora and the band of Fro takes the life of Gon and Killua, at that point Hisoka will be like even though Hisoka badly wants to fight off against Rono, Hisoka decides to eventually in the very distant future once Gon and Killua will be bringing out their full potential, will be able to bring out their full potential. At that point for Hisoka to have the ultimate fight against Gon and Killua, an exceptionally strong Gon and Killua. That to have that challenging fight against an exceptional Gon and Killua. That desire of Hisoka would be far extremely greater than Hisoka's current desire to fight off against Chrollo, the element of the race. So this would be what my picture and that the true meaning behind Hisoka. When Hisoka says that if she gets this wish, then I won't get mine. If Chrollo gets this wish and eventually ends up taking the life of Gon, for Kurapika that way takes the life of Gon and Silva, then Hisoka won't be able to get his ultimate wish of being able to eventually fight that challenging fight against Gon and Silva in the recent future. So it's definitely my personal opinion. It's definitely my personal theory and my personal theory and prediction. So definitely my personal theory and prediction as for afternoon scenario that I'm preparing is definitely for while eventually I'm also preparing Nobunaga brings the two horses Gon and Killua to location and basically it's there and those precisely Illumi showing up and the whole fight between Shigumi and Nobunaga beginning and while those fights would be going on and those things in parallel what would be has and I'm going to bring the remaining final group members eventually among the eight final group members I'm going to bring except for Nobunaga and Pasinoda that would be heading out I'm going to bring the remaining kind group members finally coming to the decision to basically return back to the basis the scenario that I'm considering and I'm going to bring reflect the recent reflect the final part of Kurapika where Kurapika had revealed about Senrutsu's power to be able to detect their lies and everything. I'm bring with that I'm bring the remaining fan group members finally deciding to basically returning back to return back to the base of the fan group reflect the scenario that I'm going to bring. So while they will be making their way to returning I'm going to bring what the things that will be simultaneously happening will be Nobunaga going up to that into that location and then Nobunaga having this fight against Illumi. And while this fight will be happening on the other side, I'm going to bring Kurapika will be taking 10% Roro to a specific location and they are I'm going to bring during this time I'm going to bring Hisoka would be escaping from so that at this time I'm going to bring Hisoka probably leaving the base of the Japan group and Hisoka would be straight away heading off to where Chloro would be. And then with the Hisoka using manpower, being able to detect his direction where Kurapika has taken Chloro to. It's definitely my first attempt. So Hisoka precisely going up to that exact location. And I'm considering Chloro, the imprisoned Chloro at that point would be still imprisoned by Kurapika's chain. So I'm considering Hisoka totally showing up and that being totally and absolutely extremely unexpected for Chloro. And I'm considering seeing Hisoka and Chloro being so extremely happy. And I'm considering Hisoka straight away not without revealing anything to Hisoka straight away telling Kurapika to like undo the change on Chrollo. And Kurapika straight away telling Hisoka that basically no, I'm going to take Chrollo's life. It's like the end of the scenario that I'm delivering. So like at that point I was delivering Kurapika would be without not all expecting like expecting an attack from Hisoka and was delivering that exactly to happen. But like Hisoka straight away using his like cards, one of his cards, like basically straight away attacking Kurapika, like the scenario that I'm doing. So that would be totally unexpected for Kurapika, especially with them both definitely probably having like coordinated a lot of their strategy. Definitely attack from like Hisoka to Kurapika towards the end would be one thing Kurapika might have never expected. It's also like might have been amazing. So Kurapika getting fried by that card and basically that attack kind of like seriously injuring Kurapika. So like with that like Kurapika totally losing her chains, losing her powers, temporarily losing her powers through her chains and that allowing like Chrollo to escape from like the chains. It's like the scenario that I'm able to bring. And at that point, like Chrollo would be extremely pleased with like Hisoka, but like at that point, it's when Superman Hisoka totally turning against like Chrollo and Hisoka basically revealing the role of that this entire time Hisoka was like the ultimate traitor and was like basically waiting for the chance opportunity to like fight up against Chrollo. So like at that point, Superman slowly did like Hisoka's extreme overconfidence, where like the scenario was like basically Kurapika the second leg gone and Skindua could be freed like Kurapika was straight away take even role of like still his only due to like Zota's extreme overconfidence of wanting to like fight off one versus one against Chloro and that extreme overconfidence of like Zoka where like Zoka is only thinking that in that one versus one fight against Chloro Zoka will be having that absolute standing fight in which Zoka will be definitely eventually ending up being victim and will be able to take Chloro's like so like solely due to the extreme or confident manner of singing of that Hisoka and delivering Hisoka attacking Kurapika, causing Chloro to be freed and then Hisoka turning against Chloro and the fight to begin between Hisoka and Chloro. And right then I'm delivering Hisoka, Kurapika totally trying to stop Hisoka and Hisoka and Kurapika maybe due to the extreme desire to get revenge on and take the life of Chloro and delivering maybe Kurapika trying to attack Chloro or like stop Hisoka midway between that fight. But like I was trying to talk with just another attack, like sending like Kurapika getting like to the sideline at that point. It's like the scenario that I'm delivering. And Hisoka totally scaring and threatening and warning Kurapika that basically this is my fight and you should stay away from it. And basically then like the whole like the whole Hisoka was like Chrollo fight would be progressing about different like Chrollo slowly starting to like seriously overpower Hisoka's like the scenario that I'm portraying. Hisoka's like extreme huge ego at that point getting absolutely crushed by Chrollo's like overwhelming strength and practical ways of like cunning ways of like fighting is like the scenario that I was in that way Chrollo starting to like teach your Hisoka and I'm delivering Hisoka like eventually taking a lot of injuries from Chrollo and then Lucifer Chloro, like the situation to be Chloro eventually only offering and defeating his and about to take the life of the Jota. So like at that very last second, I'm Lucifer like uh Kurapika who most likely getting sidelined at that point, like that medicine Kurapika at that point, like probably coming to Hisoka's rescue and basically stopping Chloro's attack at that point, at that very last second, then that being like the sole reason for like Hisoka being able to survive at that point it's like the scenario that I'm observing. And that at that point with like Hisoka's like ego, massive ego being correct. And with like Kurapika saving Hisoka's life. At that point I'm observing like Kurapika to like definitely say have her moment and say some sort of a dialogue to Hisoka. That would be like probably even more crushing Hisoka's ego. And basically like Hisoka at that point having being forced to like face the reality that Hisoka is simply not strong enough to overpower and defeat Kuroro in like a one versus one fight with like the current levels of strength that Hisoka possesses. That basically Hisoka comes to that we both like come to that realization and basically Hisoka decided to like team up with like Kurapika and at that point I'm considering with like the combined team effort like Hisoka as well as Kurapika fighting off against like Chloro and in that team effort is when I'm considering like through that team effort then she eventually still struggling their way to like eventually finally being able to like overpower and defeat Chloro in like a two versus one fight. And that way eventually Chloro finally getting defeated, but still I'm considering Chloro still succeeding in like escaping. It's like the scenario that I'm considering. Chloro still escaping it's like the scenario that I'm considering. And by then I'm considering the Gon and Killua would be like precisely Nobunaga might have died by the collective efforts of like Illumi, Gon, and Killua, and I was Illumi taking the life of Nobunaga, and basically by then I was preparing it would be around like 8 o'clock. So like at that point I was preparing for Upcat only rushing out of that location towards like airport. Hypothetically then take the life of Bakanoda. It's like the scenario. If that ended like for Upcat straight away rushing towards the airport. So like I was preparing right then and I was preparing for Kurapika right then falling gone and Silu and basically them as well heading to like the airport and I was preparing right then it would be just Kurapika and Donatello along with like Leo would be like heading off to like the airport at that point of like the scenario that I'm considering. And they would all be like collectively hoping to like basically uh, show up there and basically take the life of Papinoda. That's like the scenario that I'm considering. But like I'm considering by then like from like the whole fighting I'm considering Kurapika being like seriously kind of injured and as well as Gon and Killua as well will be like seriously injured and basically once they will be finding Papinoda at that airport like them doing that giving it their absolute everything in that whole fight that they will be having against like Pakanada. But still, I'm also think definitely Pakanada would be like well and fully healthy would be like without having any injuries. Like maybe her strength would be like Pakanada's strength would be far too overwhelming for like the badly injured and like doctor Gon Silva as well as like Kurapika. That I'm also bring that Pakanada like totally offering them and I'm also bring Pakanada about to take Kurapika's life. But like at that very last second is when I was the like the Dio entry, like the Dio entry, like the double entry of like both Hisoka as well as Illumi together showing up at that very last second. And I was just the scenario to be like Pakunoda about to take Kurapika's life and like Gon and Killua basically by then like totally being awkward and defeated by Pakunoda that they would be totally sidelined and they won't be able to like save Kurapika as like the badly exhausted all three of them being so badly exhausted and like the badly exhausted and injured like Kurapika about to die by the hands of Pakunoda but like at that very last second I was delivering maybe like a single attack from Hisoka with his card or like I was delivering a dual attack like from like Hisoka as well as like Illumi basically that dual attack basically landing precisely as Pakunoda and Pakunoda dying at that point. And at that point would be when like I'm delivering like Kurapika and Gon and Shidua being like totally shocked as to like what happened. And basically when they turn back, like they will be seeing like that grand entrance of like basically Hisoka as well as Illumi showing up there together to that airport. So like at that point I'm also putting like Hisoka, Illumi as well as Killua as well as like Gon and Kurapika having like their reunion that way and basically like them talking and then bring like that through that and they would be since they would be meeting at like an airport like I'm bring from there like Hisoka would be like flying off to some direction where like Illumi would be flying off maybe back to like the Zodi family and I'm bring God and Killua and Kurapika and Leorio would be like traveling together. So at that point, since like Chrollo would have definitely survived and escaped, like I'm bring still like I'm bring like Kurapika totally being extremely satisfied and disturbed that they like Chrollo still managed to escape, but still I'm bring like through that interaction between like Hisoka and like Kurapika, I'm bring like and Gon and Killua, I'm bring Kurapika like totally deciding to like postpone the whole mission to take the life of Chrollo to like another point and basically for to like re-strategize and get for Kurapika to get healthy and basically for all of them to like recover and re-strategize and eventually plan on taking Chrollo like in the future. Along such lines, Kurapika taking the decisions like the scenario that I'm about to fix. So like at that point, like Leorio as well as Gon and Killua as well as Kurapika flying off to like to basically take but until like eventually like the temperature they will be coming up with like a different strategy to like get and fully bring down the Phantom Person the next time. Like the scenario that I'm different. So like I'm going to bring right now, right then like Kurapika, like through the interaction with Hisoka, like Kurapika finally deciding to like basically put off like the destruction of like the Phantom Troop for like the current time being temporarily. And I'm just bringing like Kurapika only think of the fact that basically like three members of like the Phantom Troop by then would have died like Ugogin, three strong members of like the Phantom Troop, Ugogin, as well as like Nobunaga, as well as like Pakanoda, and the fact that like Pakanoda, like such a critical member of like Phantom Troop with like such a powerful ability had died, like they believe that might even make Kurapika even okay with like basically postponing, temporarily postponing like basically like the next attack against like the Phantom Troop for the time being is also like the scenario that I'm just only putting in my children. And before like they will be all flying away from like that airport in different directions, like I'm going to bring Shizuoka totally even telling looking at Gon actually and telling them that basically I still have not lacked of my pursuit used to and basically get even more stronger so that like eventually we would our scores are still not settled along the lines of the going Shizuoka telling to like Gon and Killua before Shizuoka would be flying off from that airport. It's also like the in the scenario that I was doing. So that extent my consideration impression that like right now with like the member of like, the Phantom Group like thinking of like the promotion where like it says that really only 7 members of like the Phantom Group will be returning. Considering like currently right now with like 8 members of like the excluding Chrollo like 8 members of like the Phantom Group already having gone outside, like having like the base of like the Phantom Pro. I'm considering among those 8 Phantom Pro members, I'm considering with like my considerations definitely eventually for like after this whole chaos, like I'm considering chaos and fighting, I'm considering definitely Kakinoda as well as Nobunaga would be dying. So like among those 8 Phantom Pro members, like uh, 2 of them dying. So that way, like those two Phantom Pro members not making their return, and considering it will be like the even though the remaining 6 Phantom Pro members will be making their return, like the 7th member won't be would be precisely badly injured and exhausted Chrollo after like making his retreat. Um, Laura would be precisely showing up to the base of the Phantom Group. And the differing episode would be like that third member of like the Phantom Group who would be also not making his appearance. Precisely because I'm the differing precisely after this and so that fight against like Laura definitely sort of won't be able to like return back to like the Phantom Group base at all like. And I'm delivering Hisoka totally deciding to basically flying off and basically that way like the promotion as well ending up being through with like only 7 Phantom Group members like are returning after like those exact Phantom Group members that have right now left like only 7 Phantom Group members, like including Chrollo making their return to the base of like, the Phantom Group, and that way that promotion as well ending up being through. It's like the initial scenario that I'm going to bring, and I'm going to bring as like from that airport, like while Hisoka will be flying away, Hisoka would be also lost in thought as well as for like this like talking compete against like Chrollo in the it's like one fight against Chrollo. Like Hisoka as well getting his like Hisoka friend basically Hisoka realizing that she has well she had been like or confidently overestimating himself and that like she too has like a lot to train and a lot to grow in terms of strength for him to be able to him to even be able to like defeat Chrollo in like a 1 versus 1 fight. And with that realization and reality check number of different stock as well will be leaving from that airport. It's also like an eventual scenario that I'm in that way, like Gon Killua, Leorio, as well as Kurapika and Hisoka, and as well as Illumi, like leaving Yorknow City in such a manner, like the scenario that I'm looking on the program about the remember. Like leaving person the process that eventually for like Chloro to get badly exhausted or for defeated and that way badly exhausted and injured after like fighting in like a 2 versus 1 fight against like the team of like Hisoka and Kurapika. Like the scenario that I'm looking at that point for that once like Chloro will be like making it just sitting and making it back to like the Phantom Group case. Like at that point I was considering Chloro basically the remaining Phantom members like also being like totally shocked and basically explore obviously making the reveal to them all at that point that basically Hisoka was like a traitor within that time and that basically like about like Chloro's fight against like Hisoka and all that basically considering at that point Hisoka was working with like the changes on the that time and all that like I'm considering Chloro revealing to like the remaining Phantom members and at that point I'm considering maybe like even though the remaining Phantom members want to like chase after Hisoka like I'm considering maybe for Chloro to tell them that basically to basically like to not to like exactly like how Hisoka and Kurapika and all of them might have decided to like basically properly re-strategize and basically make their return and to target once again target like the remaining Phantom Group members at like eventually like the future like I'm considering a similar thing happening with like Chloro as well. Probably most likely giving the orders to his like remaining Phantom Group members like they will be also talked about like Nobunaga, Sparkanoda stuff as well. But those are limiting ranges. So like I'm considering Chloro totally feeding the pit and with like Chloro extremely injured as well and was suffering maybe like the remaining final four members maybe also possibly having like not having like their morale that much high either. So also like about that I'm doing. So like I'm considering more Chrollo basically telling them that basically we will get them back, like we'll bring down the change user and to and we'll get revenge, but let's like basically for them to like properly strategize before like doing that. So like I'm going to bring with that, like I'm going to bring at that point I'm going to bring Chloro type basically giving the orders to like the remaining final group members that basically they the final group right now would be like temporarily once again would be leaving York University and going their separate ways until like their eventual meeting in like the future. And that meeting would be precisely intended to bring down the chain user and Hisoka and get revenge. It's definitely like around like the scenario that I'm considering, and that way like the final group members like Flora and like, the remaining final group members like leaving Yorktown City in such a manner like the scenario that I'm considering. But like I'm considering in the case of like Ron and others, like I'm considering once they would be in like the airport, like I'm considering at that point, finally while all of them would be together and in that airport, like at that point, after taking part in of like at that point I'm considering going to like all of a sudden after taking back out of like I'm considering gone all of a sudden like remembering about like the main of new option. So like I'm considering like solely due to like gone and Kilo and all of them like being so extremely invested in like Kurapika and like the fan group and they really wanted to like bring down the fan group and bring like gone and Kilo and Yori might not only absolutely forgotten about like the main of new option and the Greed Island game that I'm considering by then, like in a place might have passed that basically the main option might have been might be almost like fully over, it's like the scenario that I'm looking, or like fully over, it's like the scenario that I'm looking. So like Gon Chok and Kilu and the other Chok realizing that and remembering that and remembering at that point their chance to get like the real island game not possible like would be along the lines that Gon and Kilu and all of them need to think. So like I'm considering them deciding to wait until next year and like the next year the option to try again for like the real island game. And basically until next year for them to like try also like different other ways to see if like they will be able to like get like the real island game through other channels. So like that mind it's such a decision and the bring like Born Kilo and Leorio and Kurapika leaving the open cities like the scenario together leaving the open cities like the scenario that I'm looking and about the bring maybe it would be after like Gong will be like and about to bring at that point about to bring Gong also singing about remembering about like leaving this like kind of place and in like somewhere in like in the that place in like York New City. So like I'm going to bring Gone out this way calling that building and I'm going to bring at that point them revealing to Gone that basically Gone like kind of license have been like sold off because of like Gone being able to like not submit like the required money in time. So like that as well being and the shock of Gone like also like the scenario that I'm going to bring and like I'm going to bring the people there like making that console revealing to Gone that basically Gone Santa's license has already left York New City was sold off to like some person and he has like already left York City. So like I was considering them all like deciding to like first go leave York City and find that person and to get John and the places back and then to like eventually try their try all sorts of ways into like it like to see if like they will be able to like get Great Island Games like the into scenario that I was doing. So like I was considering then that way like gone and there was like leaving York City and I was considering then I was like eventually putting into my impression that like even before like a whole year will be passing and before like the next year of then I was bringing on finally getting to stand on like the Great Island game and I was bringing as to like how exactly it would be even happening before that I'm just bringing to be precisely through like Kindo's brother as definitely my wasn't able so like I'm just bringing eventually I'm also bringing either Kindo's brother like calling Kindo maybe and your brother might have attended like the main York auction and still might have not had enough money to be able to like buy that Great Island game. So like I was thinking that was a collector of like the Great Island game might have once again collected all the copies being put up for like the main York auction as well. And so like maybe even the brother might have pointlessly showed up to like the main York auction with like in not being able to like get his hands on the Great Island game. So like that is the point that Kiddo's brother might even call Kiddo as to basically save it at that point. It's like the scenario that I'm looking at. And during that conversation, like Kiddo's brother might even reveal to Kiddo how he had also ordered out like the entire Great Island game using that memory card that Kiddo had given to his brother. But still it simply wasn't working. So like at that point I'm considering maybe like Kiddo and Gon's either deciding to like check it out and then heading off back to like the old family mansion, or like I'm considering at that point, like one Hiddeo's brother would be revealing about like him coding out the game of the period and game, and still is that game still missing out some single element. Like at that point, maybe it's to totally click for like Gon and Killua that like that missing element might be precisely the power of men. So like I'm considering Gon and Killua is technically heading back to like so all the family mentioned and about the thing there, like about the thing like John and Killua, like sending out their men powers into like the computer and everything like precisely as like Killua's brother will be executing the code for like the real game. John and Killua like sending out their men powers into maybe like the CP or something, and usually that way like the Grid Island game getting activated, and like that way I'm about to bring into my personal in that way, and at that point for like either John Killua as well as Siddharth brother being dragged into that Grid Island game at that point itself. For like I'm considering it will be just John and Killua getting dragged into like the Grid Island game, it's like the scenario that I'm focusing and my personal things. And I'm always everything like after like completing like the Grid Island game, which I'm going to totally complete, and about the bring God's father team would be definitely playing the currently playing the Great Island game and would be within that Great Island game. But like I'm considering not even being God's father and not being able to like complete the Great Island game. So like even before King would be being I'm considering to reach like a point where like there will be like some exceptional villain or like an enemy or that like even who would be like so exceptionally strong that even will be like stronger than being so like I'm considering being to be like always stuck there in the Great Island game. So like I'm considering Gon and Killua eventually as they will be progressing through the Great Island game, reaching that point, and that point will be where like they will be most likely finding King. And then I'm considering Gon even surpassing that enemy or that strong opponent or enemy that even King couldn't stick with, and that way maybe at that point gone like surpassing even King's strength. Maybe like with like a sort of scenario that I was looking, and then like gone and Kulu and King together like basically them eventually finally completing the Great Island game. And it will be after like completing the Great Island game that they will be even able to like exit the Great Island game and be able to like come back to the real world. And by the time they would be coming back to like making it back to the real world from like the Great Island game, about to bring Gon and Killua to be so exceptionally good up by then gain so much such an extreme upgrade in strength that they will be by then be a whole lot extremely superiorly stronger that they will be at that point either on like the same levels of strength as that of Chrollo or even stronger. So also like a, maybe like a possibility that I'm expecting. Or like only extremely close to like the level of strength of Chrollo. Like also like the into scenario that I'm expecting. And by the time like Gon and Killua will be like making it out of the Future Island game, by then I'm considering Hisoka as well would have done a lot of his own unique private kind of training through which like Hisoka as well would have sharply increased his strength and reached like new levels of strength as well at that point. It's definitely also my considering. But that's why the scenario that I'm considering and I'm very much.